I'm about to save you from wasting $1,000 because right now, somewhere out there, a developer is about to buy a laptop that looks incredible on paper and will completely destroy their game dev workflow the moment they open Unreal Engine. Don't be that person. I tested 5 laptops. I know which one will make your builds fly and which one will have you staring at a loading bar when you should be shipping your game. Let's go. And before we jump in, stick around to the very end because I'm going to tell you the one spec that almost no review channel ever talks about that can completely ruin a laptop for game development, even if everything else looks perfect on paper. It's not the GPU, it's not the RAM. Most people never check it before buying, and they regret it. If this sounds useful, hit subscribe. I cover game dev tools, workflows, and gear every week. Okay, let's get into it. Before we get into the laptops, one thing you need to understand. Game development is not gaming. When you're playing a game, the CPU hands everything off to the GPU and relaxes. But when you're building a game, your CPU is compiling code, your GPU is rendering the editor viewport, and your RAM is holding your entire scene in memory, all at the same time, for hours. That's why a laptop that runs games at 120 frames per second can completely choke the moment you open Unity or Unreal Engine, and that's exactly what we're testing for today. Quick note, all 5 of these are available on Amazon right now. Links are in the description. Prices shift, so check before you buy. Let's rank them. Number 5, MSI Katana 15HX. Kicking us off at number 5, and I want you to pay attention to this one because it's the kind of laptop that will make your wallet very happy. The MSI Katana 15HX starts at around $1,200 on Amazon. Plastic chassis, nothing flashy, nothing that turns heads. But here's the thing. When Laptop Media ran their full benchmark suite, it came out as the fastest RTX 5070 laptop they had ever tested, beating machines that cost nearly double. That's not a marketing line, that's a real benchmark result. The reason is the cooling. 5 shared heat pipes that let the CPU run at full speed during a long compile, not just burst for 30 seconds and throttle. For game development, that sustained performance is everything. In Unity or Godot, this machine will never be your bottleneck. In Unreal Engine 5 with Lumen and Nanite, it handles it well, though heavy 4K texture work will eventually show the limits of the 5070. The QHD display at 165 Hz is sharp and smooth. Totally fine for 3D viewport work and asset review. Brightness is average, so keep it indoors. Battery gives you around 4 to 5 hours. This is a desk machine, not a travel machine. And at $1,200 with 32 gigs of RAM already inside it, the value is genuinely hard to argue with. The fans get loud under load. Headphones are your friend. But if you're a student, a beginner, or just someone who wants the most performance for the least money, this is the one. Number 4, Asus TUF Gaming A16. At number 4, and I need you to really hear this stat, because for a laptop with an RTX 5070 inside it, it almost doesn't make sense. Real-world battery tests clocked the Asus TUF A16 at over 14 hours on a single charge. 14 hours. That is not a typo. If you're a student who codes between classes, an indie dev who works from cafes and libraries, or anyone who can't always guarantee access to a power outlet, that battery life changes your entire workflow. You stop thinking about charge levels and just build. Performance-wise, the Ryzen 9 is a solid chip for Unity, Godot, and mid-scale Unreal projects. It won't win a benchmark race against the Intel machines on this list, but compiles cleanly, handles multitasking well, and the thermals are genuinely impressive. Heat stays pushed to the back of the chassis, so your hands stay cool during long sessions. One thing that's often overlooked, the RAM and SSD are both user upgradable, so if you buy it today with 16 gigs and want 32 later, you're not buying a whole new laptop. That's a big deal for long-term value. The display is 165 Hz at a slightly taller 1920 by 1200 aspect ratio. That extra vertical space actually gives you more room in your editor, which means more of your scene hierarchy, more of your inspector, more of your viewport visible at once. And OLED means colors are accurate enough for serious asset work. For environment art or UI design, that matters. It's heavy, and battery under load gives you a few hours at best, planned for a desk setup. But for battery, portability, and price combined, nothing comes close. Number 3, Asus ROG Strix G16.
Number 3 is where we step into serious territory. Tom's Hardware reviewed the ROG Strix G16 and said it made more of a statement in the productivity benchmarks than anywhere else. And for a game developer, that's the sentence that matters. Not gaming, productivity, compiling, rendering. The chip inside is Ryzen 9 9955HX3D. And that X3D part is important. AMD's 3D cache technology is designed specifically for workloads that hammer the CPU in repeated, intense bursts, which is exactly what lighting bakes, shader compilation, and physics simulation do. In Unreal Engine 5 especially, you'll feel the difference compared to a standard chip. The display is a genuine highlight. 240Hz OLED at 2500 by 1600. That slightly taller resolution gives you more vertical real estate in your editor, which means more of your scene hierarchy, more of your inspector, more of your viewport visible at once. And OLED means colors are accurate enough for serious asset work. For environment art or UI design, that matters. It's heavy, and battery under load gives you a few hours at best. Plan for a desk setup. But for $2,000 for this level of GPU power, the ROG Strix G16 is the most complete package at this price. Number 2. Lenovo Legion Pro 7i Gen 10. Number 2 and one number explains everything. 175 watts. That's the sustained GPU power output of the RTX 5080 inside the Legion Pro 7i. Most gaming laptops put a powerful GPU in the chassis and then strangle it with a 100 or 120 watt limit to manage heat. The Legion doesn't do that. You get the GPU running at full desktop class power, sustained for as long as you need. What does that actually mean for game development? If you're working in Unreal Engine 5 with lumen lighting, nanite geometry, and ray tracing previews running in your viewport, this machine doesn't slow down. Real-time rendering in the editor stays smooth. Shader compilation is fast, and if you use GPU-accelerated baking or AI tools inside your engine, the 5080 handles it all. The OLED display is stunning. 240Hz, 2.5K resolution, accurate colors straight out of the box. Reviewers called the overall package outstanding. The keyboard is genuinely comfortable for long coding sessions. Build quality is premium metal. It feels serious in your hands. Battery life is honest, 2 to 3 hours under load. This machine lives on a desk with a power cable. There's some Lenovo bloatware on first boot, but that's a one-time cleanup. At $1,600 for this level of GPU power, this is the best value in the premium tier. And here's the one, the Razer Blade 16. 4.72 pounds, RTX 5090 inside, all aluminum chassis that feels like it was milled from a single block of metal, and, I need you to really hear this, over 10 hours of verified battery life on a machine with RTX 5090 hardware inside it. PC World tested it and had to double-check the results. How does Razer pull that off? When you're not under heavy load, writing code, reviewing assets, browsing documentation, the discrete GPU switches off completely and the system runs on integrated graphics. Long battery. The moment you launch your engine and start testing, the RTX 5090 kicks back in. Full power when you need it, all-day battery when you don't. No other machine on this list does that. For every engine, Unity, Unreal, Godot, this machine is effortless. The OLED display is color accurate and gorgeous for asset work. The build quality means you can take it to a client meeting, a coffee shop, a co-working space, and it holds its own anywhere. One honest truth before you spend nearly $3,000. The Lenovo Pro 7i's RTX 5080 at 175 watts actually beats this in raw GPU benchmarks because the Blade runs its 5090 at a lower 160 watts. So if pure rendering numbers are everything, step back to number 2 and save $1,000. I promised you this at the beginning, the spec nobody talks about. Here it is, thermal throttling. Here's what happens with bad laptops. You fire up a compile, the CPU runs at full speed for about 30 to 60 seconds and it looks amazing. Then the chip gets hot, the thermal system can't keep up, and the processor quietly drops its clock speed to protect itself. Your compile just takes twice as long and you have no idea why. There's no alarm, no warning. Before you buy any laptop for game development, search for the model name plus sustained performance test. Any review worth reading will show you a CPU benchmark that runs for 15 to 30 minutes, not just a burst test. That graph tells you the truth about how a laptop actually behaves during a long shader compile or a lighting BIC. That's the thing most reviewers never show you. Now you know to look for it. Your laptop is your studio. It's where the game gets made, and the right machine doesn't just run your engine, it stays out of your way while you build something people will actually play. All 5 laptops are linked in the description with current Amazon pricing. Prices shift, so check before you buy. I'll keep the links updated. If this helped you figure out what to get or saved you from buying the wrong thing, a like goes a long way. It helps this channel more than anything else you can do. Next week, the best free tools for game development in 2026, what engine to start with, what's worth paying for, and what you can build an entire game with for $0. Subscribe so you're there when it drops. Go build something good. I'll see you in the next one.